Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is April 17, 2024, and we are getting into the volume 197 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, I'm going to mention, as I mentioned in every video on this channel, I'm not an immigration attorney. This is not legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question, comment from Raisa Montenegro 8593. Hello, thanks for helping us. I've been documentarily qualified since June 15, 2022, priority date 22nd June 2015, visa class F11, so F1 preference. I believe unmarried daughter of US citizen over 21. Yes. Country of birth Brazil, country for interview Canada, currently living. I just saw that the visa bulletin for May is current on July 8, 2015. Yes it is. I believe it is. Let's take a look at the visa bulletin, see what's going on for. Yes, so July 2015. I thought I would get my interview in the next months or so, but if I understood right, it can take up a year. Is that right? Have a nice day. So Raisa, thank you very much for your question. So yes, unfortunately, whenever it comes to US Embassy scheduling these interviews, it is only after your priority date becomes current that they schedule these interviews. And a lot of times, they already have people who have been waiting in the line for the interview. So depending on where the US Embassy is, and in Canada, I don't know. I really am not sure. I haven't heard, I think only one or maybe two comments I had whenever it comes to family reunification cases specifically that are processed in Canada, on this channel at least. It's not an indication of anything really. But I haven't heard much from people from Canada. So maybe whenever it comes to family reunification cases, maybe the immigration flow is not as, honestly, I don't know why wouldn't it be, or why would it be? But honestly, the best case for you, the best thing for you to do, just give it another few months and reach out to the US Embassy where your interview is going to be scheduled, and see if they can give you the information of approximately how long the wait is typically. You can also search. It's hit and miss with the open public forums, but a lot of times people who have personal experience in certain categories, they share that information, how long, and that's the best indication to kind of compare and see how long you will be waiting. But unfortunately, yes, the wait is not over just yet, but you are really close. Hopefully it's not going to take for you as long as a year. On average, it used to be somewhere between 6 months and 12 months, but now it seems like it's leaning more towards between a year and a year and a half. But again, it heavily depends on where the US Embassy is and how busy the immigration flow, specifically whenever it comes to family reunification, because that's, they have a certain dates, certain times when they schedule these interviews. So if it's a heavier, immigration traffic from that country, it might be longer. If it's not, it might be shorter. But once you do get your interview scheduled, please come back to this channel. And the updates are always helpful for everyone if you're watching these videos. If you had your I-130 interview scheduled recently, please let everyone know in the comments your chargeability area, where you're from, which US Embassy it is, and how long it took you after your priority date was current for you to wait for the interview to be scheduled, because that's really helpful. All right, let's move on to the next one from Gil Marvelous 3486. Hi sir, my priority date is current now. How long time for welcome letter? Please reply, sir, F2A category. So Gil Marvelous, you say that your priority date is current, which is great, which means that now the US Embassy is starting to schedule your interview. I'm assuming that's what you're referring to when you say welcome letter, because usually we'll wait for a welcome letter from the NVC, not from the US Embassy. US Embassy sends us the interview notification. Like I've mentioned in the previous response, typically it takes between 6 months to a year, but It can take as long as a year and a half, 2 years, 2.5, depending on where U.S. Embassy is and how busy the immigration flow is in that country. So unfortunately, I can't give you too much of estimate, but as long as you're current, honestly, that's really what matters. It means your immigration visa is already available and the process is moving. Give it a few more months and then reach out to the U.S. Embassy wherever you are and see if they can give you the information on approximately at least how long. Sometimes they can even tell you when your interview was scheduled, because it's over the phone, it's unofficial announcement, and a lot of times your interview is scheduled and you just don't know it yet, because they can only announce the interview 30 days before the actual interview date, because you have to do the medical examination within the 30 days. Very rarely 60 days, but in most of the cases it's 30 days. So keep that in mind. All right, let's move on to the next one from Litia Gami 9078. Thank you so much for answering my question, but I hope the interview will be scheduled sooner, because F2B was in 2015 for over 5 years now. I see. And the April bulletin was on November 22, 2015, and my priority date is December 7, 2015. And May jumped 5 months ahead. So do you think it's possible for me to get interviewed 3, 6, 9 months from now? And the police report was for a child applicant. I'm surprised they requested a police report for a child. That's so weird. But it is what it is. You satisfied their request. That's really what matters. A lot of things that, whenever it comes to government and whatever they request is weird, but it is what it is. We are part of the process, and whatever they request, we just try to, to answer those requests. But yes, it is possible. That's the thing. Because you have been waiting for longer and you've been already documentarily qualified, it is possible. But again, you have to keep in mind that US embassies, they only schedule these interviews once your priority date becomes current. Unfortunately, it used to be at some point, and probably 5, maybe more, once you are documentarily qualified, they already are working on scheduling your interview and trying to match the visa bulletin when it becomes current, so that your interview kind of falls within that time frame. So it's scheduled before your priority date is current, but on the day when your interview is scheduled, it becomes current. But the thing is, in the past few years, what we have seen with the visa bulletin, and it has been complete disaster with the backlog accumulation. So I think that's why they stopped doing that, honestly, because actually I've seen quite a few. There was a lot of cases where the interview was scheduled and the priority date just either retrogressed or didn't become current on the day of interview, so that interview had to be rescheduled, canceled on that date and rescheduled for a further date. And I think that's why they don't do that, because really it's kind of a waste of resources. They schedule it and reschedule it, a mess on top of a mess. So I think that's why now they wait, and I think that's what kind of increased the waiting time for the interview. But again, for everyone, the best thing to do is reach out to the US Embassy, be polite, be professional, and see if they can give you that information on at least how long people are waiting for their immigration interviews. If you're looking for the US Embassy in your country, usembassy.gov, that is the website that has the list of all the countries. Just click on your country and it will show you all the embassies, all the consulates, and their contact information as well. Okay, there it is. Finally, it's loaded. All right, so let me post a response here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Tabuk 6816. Hey, thank you for clearing my confusion on I-124 form in volume 196. I have a few questions for you. If you can help, would be really appreciated, of course. So first question, if I choose option 1D on my I-824, how will NBC determine the consulate for my husband? And is there any way to process it faster? We tried doing expedite request, but it got declined. Yes, so whenever it comes to the 1D I-24, so the address that you specify for the beneficiary that is on I-24, and the address obviously they have on I-130, that's the address that they will use, that they have in the system, which they already have. They look at it, they say, okay, so it's in India, this is the closest consulate, this is the closest embassy, that's where we're going to schedule the interview. So that's really it. That's why you don't have to specify specifically which US consulate or specifically which US embassy where the interview is going to be processed. Now, whenever it comes to the expedited request, unfortunately, NVC, Department of State, they made it a little bit stricter. Before, you could request the expedited processing for children that are aging out, for certain hardships, including some, if there's a crisis in the country, if there's significant financial hardship or something along those lines, obviously health. But now, as of recent, I don't know when they made that update, but I think just a few years ago, I was making that video on how to do the expedited request, and it was still the old requirements, I guess. But as of right now, it is only if it is a medical life or death situation. That's what it says on their website. So yeah, unfortunately, it became even harder to get that expedited processing. Okay, question number 2. And after they transfer my case to NVC, how long does it take them to schedule an interview? Okay, I'm a US citizen, he's in India, and I filed I-130 in January 2023. It got approved in January 24. Filed I-24 in January 24, hoping to get approved June, July. So it is possible, but it heavily depends on the US Embassy where the interview is going to be scheduled. So once the NVC, that they see that, okay, so husband is, in India, that's where we need to send it. US Embassy in one of the US, I would think there's more than one in India, but let's take a look and see what's going on. While I have this website open, might as well. Probably gonna take forever to load. But on the huge plus side is that because you're a US citizen and you're petitioning for your husband, he's in immediate relative category. So his immigration visa is already available. All he's gonna be doing now is just waiting for the interview to be scheduled, and that depends on, so there is, in New Delhi, there is an embassy, consulate general in Chennai. I'm not sure. Sometimes consulate don't deal with the immigration visas with family reunification. Consulate general in Hyderabad, consulate general of Kolkata, general in Mumbai. I know that in Mumbai, because I did get comments from people who are waiting for their interviews to be scheduled, and they're saying that it's going to be in Mumbai. I'm not sure, maybe not, but New Delhi for sure. Unfortunately, I know that especially because we know that India has a separate chargeability area on the visa bulletin, there is a heavier immigration flow from India. So that means that, the embassies, the consulates, they're busier than in other countries. So it might take some time before the interview is scheduled. But again, because your husband is in immediate relative category, I would hope that it would be sooner than later. And on the plus side, his immigration visa is already available. So literally the only thing that's left is medical examination and the interview. That's really it. Is it possible to get June, July? Well, you send the I-24, so I'm assuming if they already processed the I-24, have you heard back from them on your I-24 from the USCIS? Because if they processed I-24, they probably already sent the case from NVC to the US Embassy where it's supposed to be. And potentially, since it's been January, I would say a couple months for the processing. I would say it's possible that, I don't know if it's June, July. I mean, it would be nice. But I would say it's possible by the end of the year. But again, because India is, it's a busier immigration flow from India, you might be looking at some more wait. And the question number 3, my husband's passport is expiring in March 2025. When he renews it, he's going to get different passport number. And how do I update that with NVC? Thank you for your help. You are very helpful to everyone. And also, thank you very much. I'm glad my answers are helpful. So regarding the passports, the best thing to do, if the interview is still not scheduled by March 2025, which hopefully, honestly, hopefully what happens is that your husband can get his immigrant visa in his old passport, come in here, because once he comes in here with the immigrant visa, immediately it converts to the temporary permanent resident card. So, and within like few weeks, he's gonna get his actual permanent resident card. And then he can just renew his passport here at the, honestly, I'm not sure. It depends on the country, but most countries, I know my country, they don't do that, which is, but that's a whole different issue. But I'm sure India, they have, an embassy here in US, and you can go there and renew your passport like most normal countries, except the country where I'm from. But that's a whole different conversation. But if that doesn't happen, the best thing to do is on the day of the interview, make sure your husband gets scan of all the old passports, because his old passport is going to be at NVC, all right? And there is really not much point reaching out to NVC, because they don't really, you're already documentarily qualified. And whoever is at the US Embassy, the consul who's going to be doing the interview, they understand that. So just bring with him the new passport, obviously, where the immigrant visa is going to go, and then all the copies the copies of all the pages in a separate folder of all the passport, to show that there you go, here's the expiration date, it was expiring, so here's my new passport. But have the scanned of the old passport, unless of course they don't take the old passport from in India. I don't know how it works, but if they don't take it, just bring the old passport as well, to show them that, hey, there's the old one, yes, same information, and here's my new one. Okay, let me post a response here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Aaron Asfashan 5925. Aaron, thank you very much for being publicly subscribed. Appreciate it. Hello, sir. As always, your information is important. My case is I-130 F1 All Chargeability Area. Priority date September 2019. Approved June 29, 2023. My case is at NVC, and there has been no message or response from NVC yet. What should I do? Additionally, since I have a case at NVC, may I apply for a Welcome Corps? Does it have any impact on my case? Thank you. Aaron, thank you very much for the question. Let's take a look at the visa bulletin, see what's going on for the F1. So if you have not heard from NVC yet, I'm assuming perhaps you are waiting still for your NVC portal to open up. But let's see what's going on with graph B. So it's on September 2017 for All Chargeability Area. And you are September 2019. Okay, I see. So that's why. So looks like you still have 2 years, roughly, judging by the visa bulletin. Again, it might be faster, it might be slower. Sometimes visa bulletin doesn't move, sometimes it goes back, which is not good. But if we see consistent movement 1 month, every month on the visa bulletin, you are looking at another 2 years before your NVC portal opens up, so that you can start your documentary qualification process. So everything is fine, you don't have to worry about that. You're just waiting for priority date to become current on graph B, and that's the graph that shows us when the NVC portal opens up. As far as your Welcome Corps, honestly, I'm not sure what Welcome. I think I had a question from someone about Welcome Corps. It sounds like something military potentially. I'm not sure. I don't think it should have any effect, but I can't really answer that, because I'm not familiar with Welcome Corps. But I don't think there's anything really that you can do, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure, unless it's unless it is something that can cause, like for example, when they fill out the DS-260 for the immigrant visa, there is this questionnaire, and it says, did you belong to this military organizations and did this or did something illegal or did something? If this is something along those lines, yeah, definitely you don't want to stay away. You want to stay away from something like that. But if it's something, some kind of charitable organization, or that's what it kind of sounds like, or maybe potentially something with the military. But again, Welcome Corps, sounds welcoming. I'm not sure, but I would imagine it shouldn't be a problem in any case. All right, let's move on to the next one from Fiandres5884. Hello, sir. I'm documentarily qualified June 6, 2022, and priority date is December 13, 2019. I don't know when our interview is. Still waiting F2A Philippines. All right, let's take a look at the visa bulletin, see what's going on for the F2A Philippines chargeability area. So currently Philippines is on June 21. So it's current with all chargeability area. So June 21, and you are priority date December 2019. Okay, so you definitely already are current and been current for a year and a half. Let's see, June. Sorry, my math is horrendous, but if my calculations are correct, about a year and a half you've been current, which is definitely great news. I know I think just yesterday I had a question from someone from Philippines, and they've been waiting for like 2 years for their immigration interview to be scheduled. And that's the thing that I was mentioning earlier, is that the countries with a heavier immigration traffic, which Philippines is one of those, obviously because Philippines have their separate chargeability area, they do have a little bit quite significantly longer wait times for the interview. So now you have been waiting, you've been current for how long now? At least a year and a half. So you're getting close. I would say potentially it's possible that you might get your interview by the end of this year. It is possible that it might be the first quarter of the next year. The best thing to do, because you've been waiting for so long now and you have been current for a while now, is to reach out to the US Embassy in Philippines. And I'm gonna give you their contact information while I have this page open. And wait, I think it's in Manila. I think so, not sure. My geography is as bad as my math. Yes, there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna paste this, give them a call, be polite, be professional, say, hey guys, I'm F2A category, been current for a year and a half, 2 years, however long you've been current. Just wanted to see if you can give me the details of when my interview was scheduled. If they say no, we can't give you that information, don't be upset. A lot of times they do, but it still is worth a shot because it's unofficial announcement. They cannot give you an official announcement earlier than 30 days before your interview is scheduled, which most likely it is already scheduled. You just don't know it yet because you didn't reach that 30 days mark. But over the phone, it's unofficial announcement, so they might be able to tell you that. Okay, let's move on to the next one. From user, sorry, no name on this one. Wife of permanent resident, priority date 12/02/2019, documentarily qualified since 17 January 2023 and updated since 19 July 2023. Still waiting for the interview. Any idea of the interview date? All right, so let's take a look at the F2A. So F2A is in June 2021. And the priority is 2019. So you have been current for a while as well. You have been current now for, yeah, so just as much as the previous commenter. So almost a year and a half now, you have been current. So your interview, I'm pretty sure your interview is already scheduled. You just don't know it yet because it's not 30 days before the interview yet. And that's when they can, that's the only time they can say. Sometimes it's 60 days, very, very rarely. Most of the times it is 30 days because you have to do the medical examination within those 30 days. So again, same thing. I don't know where you're from, but wherever, just find your country, click on it, reach out to the US Embassy, let them know that you have been current for a while and you just wanted to see if they can give you at least approximate how long people are waiting for those immigration interviews in family reunification cases. And hopefully they will be able to tell you that. That's really the best thing to do because it depends on the US Embassy whenever it comes to the interviews. All right, let's move on to the next one from La Carla 81, hi, can I submit my N400 online and my I-912 by mail, or both need to be by mail? Thank you, great question. So unfortunately, no, you cannot do that, because when you're submitting your online application, in order to submit it, you do have to make a payment. And once you make the payment, you can send the I-912, they're not gonna refund you your payment, unfortunately. It would be nice if they had the I-912 option online, but they don't. And that's really one of the main downsides of filing the I-912, is because it forces you to file the application that was otherwise available online by mail. And yeah, so honestly, I would personally recommend, if you 100% are certain, and it's definitely necessary for you to do the fee waiver, then yeah, go ahead and do by mail both N400 and I-912 together as a package. But if you are uncertain whether or not it's going to be approved, and you do want to save the hassle of dealing with, printing it all out, sending it by mail, because when you send your application, and N400 is not a complicated application by no means, but still, when you're sending stuff by mail, it does create, first of all, more, you wait for longer because you're sending it by mail, waiting until it gets there, until they pick it up, until they open it up. And then there's also a potential where they don't like something, how you filled out, or the blank spaces, don't leave the blank spaces. It's very important for the blank, for the paper applications. So to avoid all of these things, it might be worth it to just, it's not a cheap one, unfortunately, but none of them are cheap, to just pay it and submit it online. But again, it's for your consideration, and hopefully this helps. Let's move on to the next one from Amit Pocorel 1751. Hello sir, my priority date is December 25, 2015. Documentary qualified in September 1st, 2021. F2B category, other chargeability area, Nepal. When will I get visa interview? All right, let's take a look, see what's going on for the F2B on the visa bulletin. So F2B, all chargeability area, we are looking at April 2016, and you are December 2015. So as of May 2024, you have been current now for April 2016, December. So December, January, March, April. Oh, okay. So about 3-4 months you have been current. So your interview, I'm pretty sure your interview has already been scheduled. At least the NVC for sure, they already sent it to the US Embassy in Nepal. So you're just waiting for the interview to be, to be announced to you, really. Used to be, in most of the situation in countries where the immigration flow is not as busy, is not as heavy, between 6 months to a year, wait for the interview. But seems like it moved more towards a year and a half, at least judging by all the comments and people waiting for their interviews. So you still have a little bit of time to wait, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna be. It's possible that you might even get your interview scheduled by the end of this year. But I would recommend giving it another few months and then reaching out to the U.S. Embassy and asking them, in Nepal, and asking them if they can tell you when the interview was scheduled. All right, let me post the answer here, and we're gonna move on to the next one from Mahnas 7882. Can you please help me? Oh, it looks like a couple of, okay, so it's a hello sir. All right, my brother along with my mother and 2 sisters came to US as a refugee in 2001. Okay, so 23 years ago. All of them applied form I-485, okay, and after 3 months received their green card, except for my brother, who was 12 years old at that time and never to this day received his green card. Wow. We somehow forgot and neglected to apply and inquire about what happened until now. So can you please give me some instructions on what form needs to be filled out? Do I have to attach his immunization and medical examinations form as well? I will really appreciate your help. Mahnas, so thank you very much for asking your question. I would say you definitely need to reach out to an immigration attorney. This is one of those situations where, yeah, I would highly recommend. It really depends on what status he is. I mean, since he's been a kid and he came, so he had, he had the valid, refugee status as a derivative beneficiary. So technically there shouldn't be any problems, but again, it's I would definitely reach out to an immigration attorney. At least find someone who can provide you a free consultation over the phone, who is an immigration attorney who deals with similar situations, because it heavily depends on what status your brother is in right now. Well, he was 12, so he had to go to school here. They don't really check the immigration status whenever it comes to schools. So now he is 12 years old he was. Now he is 35. So he's 35 now. So I don't know. He's been all this time here. Obviously, he's working or going to school or doing this and that. And at some point, I'm not sure, maybe at no point his immigration status came up. So yeah, I would definitely reach out to an immigration attorney on this one, and at least find someone who does free consultations and see what they recommend. Because it's not really a matter of which form to file, but more so figuring out what his current status is and then going from there. And once you do that, if you want to come back to this channel and ask a question, I will try to do my best to answer it. But as of right now, it's really hard to tell. So yeah, I definitely recommend reaching out to an immigration attorney on this one. All right, looks like just hi from someone. Moving further. Okay, looks like the same question from Lee Tiagami. I'm gonna post the answer, and I'm gonna do this as well. And we're gonna do one more for today. F4 category, priority date July 9, 2007, documentarily qualified May 2020, Embassy Kingston, Jamaica. I-130 was approved March 2010. My nephew was born July 17, 1997. Is he still covered under CSPA? Also just found out my niece is pregnant about 2 months. Will she be able to come if we get interview before baby is born or even after? Lastly, how soon might we get the interview letter? Thanks in advance for all your help. Okay, so F4, let's take a look. So priority date is 2007. So Kingston, Jamaica, we are looking at July 2007. Okay, so yeah, so you are just now becoming current as of in May 2024. You're gonna be current. Well, no, actually, no, I think F4. Let me see April. I think in April it actually did move. So let me check, just to be sure, because I'm pretty sure in April it was a few months behind. Let's see. All right, while this is loading. So, as of May, you're definitely going to be current. So, as of May, that's when the interview is going to be scheduled. And then obviously you have some more wait. I know Jamaica is a little bit busier, immigration flow from Jamaica. So you are potentially looking at a year and a half for your interview to be it will be scheduled very soon, but your interview will be scheduled a year and a half from now, if that makes sense. So your nephew was born July 17, 1997. So the nephew. Okay, so I see. So you F4 for your brother or sister and their son. Son is 1997. So now they are 27. So the petition was approved March 2010, and then the priority date is 2007. So July to March is just under 3 years, and he is 1997, 24, so 27, if I'm correct. Sorry, my math is absolutely horrendous. 27. So no, unfortunately not, because you see you have just about 3 years of that wait time for the I-130 to be approved, and that's the only time that they can subtract from the current age, which he would be 27. So it would bring him down to being 24 years old. So yeah, just not enough still, unfortunately. As far as your niece, let's see. So your niece is pregnant, about 2 months. Will she be able to come if we get interview before baby is born? So niece, let me think. Niece. So if she's under 21, then I think it should be good. Or if she falls under the CSPA as a derivative beneficiary. But then again, for F4 it might be different. For forced family preference category, it might be different. Man. Well, I would say the best thing to do would be to reach out to the U.S. Embassy there and asking them and see if they can answer that question. Hopefully it does work, but again, it's hard to tell for sure, because does she fall under CSPA? So let me know if she does fall under CSPA, if she's under 21. As long as she falls under the derivative beneficiary and she's not married, I think she should be able to come as a derivative beneficiary. But if she's obviously over 21 and doesn't fall under CSPA, or if she's married, then yeah, she's not going to be going under the derivative beneficiary. But again, if you can reach out to the US Embassy, that would be the best thing to do. Okay, let's see if this finally loaded. So this is April and F4. Okay, so it was in June. So you went from June to July. Okay, so you were, yeah. So in May you're going to be current, and that's when the interview is going to be scheduled. But you're still looking at some time before receiving that interview appointment. Hopefully sooner than later. But yeah, let me post a response here. Thank you very much, everyone, for asking your questions. Hopefully my answers were helpful. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to post them in the comments below. Just make sure not to put the response within your comment to my comment, because YouTube does not send me notification for those. Just post them as a separate comment and I will be able to see them on this wall. So again, thank you very much for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.